Okay guys, welcome to part 2 of the video. This, as I mentioned in the first video, is about the outer bogu, being the do, the men, and the kote. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to put them in the comments, and let's get on to the video. Before we begin the video, or the explanation, is that when putting on bogu, when putting on kendo gear, one of the things I recommend is just, as I will repeat a couple of times in the video itself properly, is ask senpai, ask sensei at least the first couple of times to help you out, just to make sure that you're in line with, let's say, the requirements of the dojo. Alright, let's get on to the video. So the next part is the do. So the do, pretty simple actually. So you just take the do, place it against you, take the left or the right, it doesn't matter, but take one of the two largest himos, and the largest himos are the ones that are on the top. So you take that one, you pull it around your back, so that it is cross over your back. Then you take the himo, and here you see there's a round little tassel on the top. Just pull it through, tighten it a bit. Don't put it too tight because you also need a bit of room to move. So then once you've pulled it through, do the same thing, but instead of pulling the cord just through, you make a little loop inside of it, as you can see. So instead of just pulling it all the way through like this, you make sure you have a little loop left. And then when you have this loop, you just use the top part and tighten it. Then you do the same thing on the other side. So again, oops, just push this through, make sure it's comfortable, and pull the loop inside. So just one more time to show you guys. So as you can see, I pulled this simply through this loop, pull it back, then you take the cord and you put it over itself like this, and then hop, you take a loop, you put it in, pull it down, and then tighten. So then the last part are these two. It's pretty simple. You just take them to the back, flip them over each other, and tighten. Voila. And now you have all of your gear on. Okay, so then the last couple of pieces when you're in the dojo. So the first thing before you put on the men is to put on the tenugui. As you can see, the tenugui is just a straight square piece of cloth. What you do is you take the tenugui, you flip it over your head. This is the way I do it. There are multiple ways of doing it. There's even what I would say arguably an easier way to do this, which is a way that children in Japan use very often, but this is my way. So my way is just, I put it over my head, then the two sides that I'm holding, I bring these to the front, and I cross them like this. Then check the back, put it down a bit, and tighten. Now, once it's been tightened, I take this piece that I have in my right hand, and I put it under this piece of cloth against my skull, and I just tug it in. Voila, as you can see, this is now sturdy. Now on this side I do the exact same thing. So I take this piece of cloth and I put it in. Voila. Then obviously I have this thing hanging in front of me, and I just pull this up. Voila. And this is the way that I do it. So once you have your tenugui on, the next thing is to put on the men. Arguably one of the more important pieces. So you just keep it like this, make it a bit open so you can easily put your head in. Remember, you have a tenugui on, and then you just tuck your head in while keeping the cords behind you. Voila. Just make sure it's nice and tight on your face. Then you have the two himos here. And what you can just do is you pull the two himos and you'll feel that the back is tightening. For me, I generally tighten it around the base of my neck because I think that's more comfortable. I mean, if you're a newcomer to Kendo, one of the things that I recommend you do is at home, take your men, put it on like 4 or 5 times a day, just to get used to the feeling of putting on men and feeling what is comfortable. Now, as I put it on, obviously if I just let this loose, it's going to fall off, so I need to tighten it and make sure that it stays on my head. So what you do is, you take the two himos on the back of your head and you just make a knot. And you tighten it with a butterfly knot. Now, once I've tightened it, this is not enough. What we need to do now is we need to check whether we're following the right rules. So the first thing that you would want to check, you'll want to do is check these himos with your fingers, and these should be perfectly flat and against each other. So as you can see on my left side, this is bent, this is not good. So I need to make sure that is absolutely flat, or as flat as I can get it. So the second part that you want to check is, so when you make these loops, they can't be too long or too short. The general rule is that the himo, so that the tassel here, the end of that has to be roughly the same length as the end of your loop. So try and make it so that they're roughly the same length on each side. So voila. So that's basically how you put on your men. Voila, and then you're fully dressed except for the kotes. Okay, so the very last part are the kotes, so your hands. The kotes obviously are the most simple of the two, of everything. It's just a pair of gloves. Take one of your gloves. Generally, as you will see when you go into a dojo, you will have your kotes to your right. So you just take one of your kotes, put your hands in, scoot them in nicely so that they're nice and comfortable. Do it on both sides. Voila. Voila. So this is it. Once you've put on your entire bogu set and all of your equipment, you're ready to do keiko and to do kendo in its fullest. So thank you guys all for watching and have a nice day. If you have any questions, if anything was unclear, if you need like close-ups or whatever, tell me in the comments and I'll try and get to you as soon as possible. So, okay, and see you on the next one.